Hey, welcome to Retired Now What, the podcast that's here to guide you through the exciting journey of retirement. Whether you're asking yourself now what or eager to explore the untapped possibilities in this new chapter, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Michael Kiffmeyer, and together we will discover how to repurpose your knowledge, embrace mastery, and live a purpose driven life. Let's dive in. Hello, everybody. I'd like to talk a little bit more today about what this podcast is all about, what I'm going to bring to you, and so you get a real good understanding of exactly what I'm going to present. But I can present, but I want you all to be part of the community so that we can share ideas back and forth. When we retire, we got great aspirations of I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. And many of us retire, and that's kind of it. But more times than not, there are a lot of folks that have that nagging question in the back of their mind. Now what? I've traveled the world. I visited with family. I saw my grandkids. I worked on my hobbies. And now what? So a few of the things we're going to explore during this podcast and the episodes within the podcast is questions that you have in your mind. The only problem with when people retire is they really don't have a plan. They've kind of thought that they have a plan, but it really doesn't work out the way that they think. They get into something and they really haven't thought it all the way out. One of the things I'm going to introduce in these episodes is SMART goals. And those are goals that are specific, they're measurable, they're achievable, they're realistic, something that can really be achieved, and they're measurable. I don't care if you've retired or if it's when you were in your working life full time. This is the way things get accomplished. And if you don't have a specific goal with a time frame put to it, when you're going to accomplish something by, it's nothing more than a dream. It's nothing more than talk. So we're going to examine some of those areas as well. It all starts with mindset. And let me share this with you. Just a few years ago, and I'm saying 20 years ago, we had a different face of retirement than it is today. Retirement then is you retired at 65, and then you did whatever you did, and you never worked again. However, times have changed. Do you know that in the past 100 years, scientists and doctors have proven we have gained somewhere between 25 and 30 years worth of life expectancy? I don't know about you, but that's an awful lot of time just to hang out and do whatever you want. A person needs a sense of purpose. And just because you retired doesn't mean that you have lost that sense of purpose. However, you're facing psychological changes now and you're dealing with things that you never had to deal with before. When you worked, good thing was you had a structure. You knew exactly what was expected of you. And you did that routine and you were fine with it. But now all of a sudden you don't have that routine. You might be just kind of hanging out and you're saying, now what do I do? I need a sense of purpose. Many of us want to leave a legacy. What's your legacy? In these podcasts, I want to examine areas such as what is your why? Why do you want to do whatever it is you want to do? What's the purpose behind it? Do you have any idea of what you want for the rest of your life? And more importantly, are you concerned about your legacy? You have a great opportunity now because years ago we had to work. We had to, we told ourselves we had bills, we had obligations, and everybody told us we had to get a practical job. Well, and I want you to think back when you were a child. You had dreams, you had visions, you had aspirations. We used to change what we were going to do when we were kids on a daily basis. What happened to all that? Well, what happened is we had families, we had mortgage payments, we had car payments, and we had other payments. So we needed to depend on a regular paycheck. Well, guess what? That's not an excuse anymore. Perhaps the children are gone. They're off living their lives, and it's just you, or perhaps it's you and your wife or a significant other, and you got to have a sense of purpose. You got to have a structure on what you're going to do each and every day. There's a few things that people worry about once they retire. They actually worry about financial stability, and we need to examine that. I want you, and I encourage each and every one of you, I want this to be an open forum where you can ask questions. And if I don't have the answers, perhaps someone inside of the podcast will. I want us to kind of make this very interactive, and I want to make it very iterative. And what I mean by that is that there is not just a simple answer. You're going to have to work at the answer of now what? Now what am I going to do? We need to examine your values. We need to examine those and match them about certain things you might want to do. And why this is an iterative process is that you might start something, feel real good about it, and then all of a sudden you don't feel it in your mind and in your heart. You've heard a million times, this life is short, and you need to do what makes you happy. You need to work at what makes you happy. Life's hard. Marriage is hard. Relationships are hard. And anything worth doing, it's hard. But the amount of satisfaction you'll get out of that will way outpace whatever hardships you have to endure while you're striving to get there. You had dreams of what you wanted this life to be. Isn't that something that you want to still strive for? Your vision, your dreams, they don't have a time frame. No matter how old you are, you can accomplish whatever it is you want to. Grandma Moses never painted until she was 85. Colonel Sanders never got his chicken embraced until he was 65. So people are, if they retire, say, at 65, and we know that we're going to live another 25 to 30 years, that's an entire second career, if that's something that you might want to do. Or if you don't want to do that, then maybe there's a passion you want to do. Personally, I like automobiles. I really enjoy refurbishing an old car. I like the classics from the 60s. What do you like? How about maybe it's sewing? Maybe there's things that you really wanted to do, but you just couldn't find the time when you were working. Well, guess what? You have the time now. And you need to start to unpack that, and you need to find out exactly what it is you want to do. If you don't know what you want to do, then I want to help and facilitate processes and methodologies that I have developed over the years. I don't know if I told you in the first episode, but I have a background in adult and online learning. I helped some of the largest corporations in the world train their people, train their distributors, train their customers. And when you train somebody on anything, change management is involved. I've got a lot of experience with change management, and that's why I believe I can take the tools, processes, and methodologies that I used in those organizations and help you with them as well. So I implore you to listen to this podcast on a weekly basis. I'm going to do this every week, and I look forward to all of your participation. And more importantly, I want to get your questions answered. Things like your health, things like long-term health care, etc. Hate to say it, those things come up, especially after you're the age of 60. So how are we going to face those? Housing's a concern. How are we going to face that? everything's going crazy price-wise. I live in California, and I just saw a notice in the paper yesterday that my insurance company it's going to raise rates by 20%. Well, if you are think you have your money planned out, and then inflation hits you upside of the head, or you take a shot to the gut, then I'm going to share with you how we're going to combat that. I'd like to share some ideas with you. I appreciate each and every one of you. I encourage you for your participation, and any questions that you may have, please ask, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to Retired Now What. I hope today's conversation has given you some valuable insights as you navigate the journey of life after retirement. Always remember, life doesn't stop after retirement. It's an opportunity for a new beginning.